welcome to another crazy day on Stupid Talk and Stupid Talk Daily with the non-religious Truth Channel combination. Nina the Mystic here. Nina.
Yeah.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so sorry. I just realized, I don't know, what is all this echoing going on? I had two windows open.
Oh, I was like, I
I'm
didn't hear
so
any echo.
sorry. Yeah, I don't know if I hope I didn't wreck your intro there. But yes, I'm doing great. How you doing, Robert?
Good. No problem. Hey, I'm winging it. This is what it is. It's the Stupid Talk and Stupid Talk Daily, and we are gonna give our opinions about all the news that you people need to know because, well, you just need to know it. I don't know other way to say. But anyway, it's we're going to go through a bunch of stuff because you know why we started these channels is because there's so much important stuff out there that you should hear that just doesn't focus around our other topics. And this stuff is happening in the world around you, all over the place. And we're going to bring it here to you tonight, and we're going to discuss some of it. Oh, I suppose we should get right into it with our first article of the day. Let's go with the weather, and we're going to start out with some of these things here, and I'm going to present this, and hopefully all these things work out. Now, people don't mind some of the ads because I'm just putting that up there. So here we go. More grid trouble in the Tennessee Valley. Authority asks customers to conserve power amid the cold blast. Well, it's telling me here that it says the Tennessee Authority and tens of millions of customers to reduce power consumption for Wednesday morning as recorded, and heat demand is forecasted amid the cold blast. Well, that's when you need the heat. They tell us to go to all electric, and then they say, can you cut back? Does this make any sense at all? This is the area affected. The grid supplies power to Tennessee, north of Alabama, northeastern Mississippi, southern Kentucky, portions of northern Georgia, western North Carolina, southwestern Virginia. It's all there, people. Temperatures are way below normal. Big storm coming through. Most of you probably already had that. You can see here the current snow cover is hitting parts of the United States that just hasn't hit before. If you're one of those people, are you turning down the heat in the midst of the cold? Nina, I know the snow hit you up there in the cold. Did you shut off your heat and sit in the dark and huddle around with a blanket on because it was so cold?
No, I did not.
That's right.
I'm very fortunate here. I got heats included in the rent. So I can crank it up and have it as hot as I want here, but
nice.
Not that I do, because I don't like being too hot, but yeah, no, in my bedroom, I like to keep it cool there. I have to put a little space heater on while I'm sitting in here because I don't want to crank the heat so much that it gets too hot in there, But yeah, no, going back to what you were saying with electricity there, if they're taking away all the gas, they don't want us to use gas. What do you think we're going to use? Most of us don't have wood-burning stoves in our house.
Yep, that's kind of a thing of the past.
Right? There'll be no other alternative, than to use the electricity. And yeah, when it's a cold snap, it's going to be a doozy on there,
Yes, it is. As you can see, a blast on the way Friday through Sunday across the central and eastern United States, a much-deserved warm-up the next week. If you can make it through this coming blast, you will be good for next week. Is that all if you're in the Northeast area, kind of out in the New York, Massachusetts area, down in Philadelphia, along the coast there, New York City, Washington, they are going to get froze out. Lots of snow, cold weather like they haven't seen in a long time. So people just beware.
Okay. Can you imagine if the power went out when it's like that?
Oh, yeah. That
right?
would be.
I mean, if they're going to turn it off and wanting to, depopulate, that would be the time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
Yes,
heads
it
up,
is.
people. Make sure you got alternative fuels, and you know, there's ways of doing it though. Like I said,
Along.
shows on like how to prepare. What would you do if the power went out and it's a cold snap? Like, how would you keep warm?
That's
Ways of
right.
doing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Ways of doing it. Yeah, exactly. So prepare, get a generator, have some heat now, a space heater, a kerosene heater,
Yeah,
something
well,
that's
most
safe.
people,
Read the
like
directions, open up
people.
some windows if you do use one.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky that you're on like property up in the country there, so you can have a
Yeah.
generator chugging along. And for the rest of us, though, who live in the city, we can't do that.
Hmm.
Especially if in an apartment building, we can't have any
Yeah.
of that. But what I have, though, as a little single person here, is I have a Jackery that I have powered up at all times that I can use
Ah.
for, right? And I even have the solar panel. So if we are going
Yep.
without for a while, I can go upstairs. It's going to take me, 3-4 hours to power it up, but I can sit outside in the sun if it's sunny. And that's the problem here where I live, because there's not that many days
Hmm.
sunny here. So, but there's an alternative there. It says, a
Yeah,
little
it's
Jackery,
dark
or
area, cloudy and rainy.
yeah, it is overcast most of the time, but
Yep. Yep.
like
It's
right
a
now
good idea.
but it's good to have, just think like for the long term. Let's say the power did go down for quite a while, then obviously I would be able to power it up once in a while, anyways, with the solar, or just then move to somewhere maybe where we can plug it in. Maybe some of the
Hmm.
downtown like shopping centers or something like that would be open, maybe, hopefully, right? Then we can go and like just
Yeah.
plug it in
Oh
there,
yeah.
charge it up, and then go back home and at least be able to plug in your phone or something, and maybe a tiny little light or something, but it's something, right? Rather than sitting there with
Mhm.
nothing if and when it goes out. So, and then of course
That's right.
flashlights and
Better have something
batteries,
than
and yeah, a little crank radio would be nice,
maybe
all
even
these little
something.
things, right? Yeah. Of course, I've been prepping for
Hmm.
years, so I
Maybe
have
even
most
something
of these
simple as
things.
a blanket, a heating pad or a
Yeah,
blanket.
yeah. Have extra
Hmm.
blankets. That's
Oh
right.
yeah,
Now,
yeah, that's a good thing. Good
if you
thing to
want to get
have.
into it, I mean, like in an apartment here, like having a little pop-up tent, you could pop up a tent and then just have the heat
Hmm.
in there. Like, say, if you did have a little space heater, or because you can't use it very much because you don't have much power, you can heat up inside the tent there pretty
Hmm.
good. You could survive in there, but yeah, you're not gonna be able to heat up the
Yeah,
whole place, right? Things like
and
that. And then I
if you
saw it
can't heat
actually.
up a tent,
Sorry.
you could always. A lot of people say just go into the smallest room of your house, go in the
Yeah,
smallest room of your house, like
that's
the
what you would do
bathroom
then. Yeah, yeah, that would
a
be the
small
second.
bedroom, and just stay
Yeah,
in that room alone.
close that off. Yeah, that would be the
Hmm.
second thing to do if you don't have the pop-up tent. Um, but I saw a nifty
Yep.
little thing on Facebook,
Yeah.
actually. You take a muffin tray, right? And you put 4 tea
Yeah.
lights inside and then you put the thing up. That was brilliant. And that would actually heat up some water and whatnot. So that's an easy, everybody has a muffin pan and some tea lights. So that was a neat little
Well,
do it yourself. Yeah.
well, that, and you can, alcohol. If you got alcohol in your house, you can make a really safe burner, because alcohol burns, just a regular rubbing alcohol. You can pretty much
Yeah, you could.
put in a jar, put a wick in it, and have a little heat. Did you know if you keep a candle with you in your car, that it will create keep it, raise the
Yeah.
temperature a few degrees. So if you were,
Yes.
if you had a couple of candles, or a wick like that, even so, for burning something, you could raise the temperature enough that you wouldn't freeze to death.
Yeah, so I used to have candles in my car, but I realized that there's a lot of things you can't keep in the car all the time because it just gets too hot. And I've had
Oh
things
yeah.
melt on me and all these kind of things. So, like lighters and fuel and candle, you can't really have that in the car. But what I do is I have it right by the door. Most of
Hmm.
the stuff is in the car, stuff that's not going to be ruined by temperature. And then the rest of the stuff is just right by the door. So the last thing I have to do is grab my, bug out bag and grab all those other things that I can't really kind of store in there. And that's candles, definitely one of them. That will definitely keep the edge off, in the car. It heats
Mhm.
it up fairly good in there. But going back to the alcohol, I would be very, very careful with the alcohol, because if
Oh
you
yeah,
spill that stuff, oh shit, now you got fire everywhere.
it's flammable.
So it is
Yeah.
very flammable and everything. Yeah, so I wouldn't recommend liquid fuels especially in the car or inside. Trying to do that, like, I mean, that would definitely be the last ditch freaking effort if you were like,
Hmm.
really freezing to death or something. But yeah, reach for something else. Like, have a lot of candles on hand. I mean, you're gonna use those
Hmm.
anyways.
Yep.
Eventually, it's not gonna
Eventually,
be a
yeah.
waste, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Well, we got our next subject here. Migrant crisis plunges Denver's main public hospital deep into the red after patients receive 130 million of treatments they were unable to pay for. All those
Well,
migrants
well,
coming across, I know we're
yeah.
coming. You all probably see them somewhere. And when they get sick, they go to the hospital to get treated for free, driving up the medical bills. And what do you think that does to your medical bill when you go in and
But the
your
thing
insurance?
is that the government who let them in must have known that,
Yep. Oh yeah,
right?
I know. Are they
So,
trying to collapse the medical system? It
wow,
says here.
geez, that makes you
Yeah.
wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it says
Right?
in 2022, the hospital system lost 35 million. Wow. And I can't believe they lost 35 million. You know,
Well, I know.
Gee,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's just the hospitals. You should see, like, I know for a fact, like the food banks around here, they barely have any food left now for people, because they're 80% of the people down there do not speak English and they just got here.
yeah, they
So
walk
now
in
there's Yeah, so now there's not
and they're
enough
getting all
food
the
now
benefits for
for
free just because they walked across the
yeah.
border.
Yeah, yeah, they get everything for free. And so now there's not enough food for people who have worked their whole life in this country and paid taxes, and now are seniors and whatever, or disabled or whatever, you know what I mean? Now they don't get any food now
Yep.
because of all of this. So the whole thing is collapsing. Like, I don't know what's going to happen here. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
I've heard the argument that, oh, we're not reproducing enough, so we're going to have to take in migrants because of that. Well, there's ways of doing it. The way that they're doing it right now, it's not right.
No, absolutely not right. Um, like I said, it's just letting them come across the border just because that's just wrong. But they still are. They're coming across. They should have a U-turn there. We caught them and we're shipping them back tomorrow kind of policy. Instead,
Yeah, I
it's
know. Like, I don't know about the States, but I know Canada used to be very strict. Like, you
yeah.
had to have a certain amount of money to come into this country. You have to be able to prove to the country, basically, that you are going to be self-sufficient. You're not going to be on the food bank lineups. You're going to be working. You're going to be a productive member of society. Like, we don't want all these people who like going to be on welfare now for the rest of their lives. Like, it's
Hmm.
it's going to collapse that whole system.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, scary
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, exactly. Scary times ahead as we get people pouring in here. We got Lee in here, F Kitty, Jules, Healing Rose. Thank you for joining us tonight. Um, let's see here. Let's go to the next one. This is very controversial. And we are going to go to Pope Francis praises Karl Schwab when the World Economic Forum and the message sent to the 2024 Davos Summit. Pope Francis did not mention Christ or Catholicism or the role of the church in his message, but instead he highlighted the role of the World Economic Forum in the world's future and the process of globalization. And of course, what did he say? He says, in my hope, then, that the participants in this year's forum will be mindful of the moral responsibilities the fight against poverty and attainment of integral development, the brothers and sisters and blah blah blah, peace and peoples. Well, what does he say? Here is the cards for praising the annuals of the Davis Fund Memorial Dimensions. There was a good spot in here. This was his message, and he's telling us, he didn't even mention anything about church or God or any of that shit. Well, what does that mean? Is what is he talking about there? He don't care about he's a globalist. That's what I would put a label on him. What do you think of all of that?
Oh, he's part of the whole gang there for sure. No doubt about it. What started all this bullshit really is the Vatican, the Christianity, like church and state, started holding hands. They're in on it. They're buddies, why is it that these guys don't have to pay taxes? Why is it that, that whole thing's got to go, man. Like,
well, I had this argument with my buddy the other night, and I said, listen, the church is set up. I'm okay. You went to church, and in your church, just the setup alone, and nobody questions it. In a Catholic church, you have all the people in all the pews with the center figure of the priest in front, right? And then and that's he's representation of the leader. But what do we do when we have government? We have all the, if you look at Congress in the United States, I don't know how it is for the Parliament over there in Canada, but you have everybody, and then you have them surrounding him as a central figure, and then he gives the rules and he puts them down to them. They go out and put them down to the people, etc., etc. It's set up the same way. The church is exactly the same as the government. They just put a different label on it. And then, they make the rules. And what does the church do? They just made rules too. They just made different ones. And so everything is based on the same thing. People can't understand the government and the thing is exactly the same, people. It's the church stuff, the government stuff, it's one and the same. Exactly.
Yeah. They're partners in crime here. And they both want your money. Both of them. Between the two of them, pretty much everything you make is gone there. Then when you add on the sales taxes and on everything you buy and everything, shit. Really, how much do we really have at the end of the day? So,
yeah. I know. But that's exactly it. People don't realize this guy here is in control just as much as the president is, pretty much. And we just don't realize it. He's just making.
He's a king. He's more like a king of, really, of Christianity. Of the Western world, really.
Because what part of him is supposed to be dictating politics? And if you really read what he said here, he says, our fight against poverty and attainment of an eternal development of our brothers and sisters in the quest for peaceful coexistence. Well, this quest for peaceful existence, that's a government thing. Poverty, that's socialism. If you have socialism, well, you're saying, we're going to get rid of poverty. How do you get rid of poverty? You make everybody equal. Then everybody is equally poor. There's nobody richer than anybody else. You can't say there's any poverty because everybody's equal.
Is that kind of the reasoning why they're even taking in the immigrants then? Because I was just thinking protecting poverty and protecting, seniors and the fatherless, I believe was the word he used in here, and whatnot. Well, they are directly affected by the immigrant thing going on here. They're literally taking the food out of our mouths to feed the immigrants. So there's debate there, who are we protecting here? Not us, obviously, in the West here.
You're bringing in these poor people and you're making everybody equal. And by making everybody equal,
then we're all going to be going down to the immigrants level is what they want.
Well, But now instead it will be all, nobody will be super poor, but nobody will be better off than anybody else.
Yeah, no, we'll all just be super poor. That's all. That's it. You either have it or you don't. That's it. It's
Yes.
like that thing, the have-nots and whatever. That's what we all are. The have-nots. We're not going to have anything of what we're used to having. So it's going to be a huge fall for us because we're a little spoiled now. We're used to certain things, certain way of living. Guilty as charged here. I'm not going to like it. Having to now all of a sudden go down to immigrant levels, like how they lived over there. Like, I'm resisting that for sure.
Well, exactly. But here's the thing is, if you work hard, you're not going to get anywhere.
No,
Why?
there's no incentive. You just sit at home and get your little universal basic income. That's what's coming now, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I work harder? Yeah. I'm going to just do my little bit and then I'll get by, because if I don't do any work at all, I'm still going to get food in a house. And if I work really hard, I'm still going to get food in a house.
Yeah, well, you know what though? What's going to happen is that it sounds great, $2,000 right now. $2,000, which isn't a lot, does kind of pay the bills. If you're not too, fussy about stuff, you can get by on $2,000. But if everybody is getting $2,000 all of a sudden, I bet you that $2,000 is not going to be worth $2,000 anymore. It's not going to cover the rent all of a sudden. Your rent's $5,000. But you're only you know what I mean? So that's what's going to happen there. And so we're still going to be struggling. We're going to sign the yes because it's going to sound wonderful when it comes in. Oh, they're going to talk it up like, oh man, we're going to be it's going to be so great. And then once we've all signed over, because we'll have to sign something saying, okay, yeah, sure, put that money in my bank account, right? And we all do it because it sounds great. Then all of a sudden the economy goes to shit. All of a sudden the inflation, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden that $2,000 is not worth anything. So now we're still sitting here. We already signed the thing. And yet the money we're getting is not worth, we can't live on it. That's what's going to happen.
Well, but that's the sleight of hand. You don't realize it at the time. It's like if everybody wrote a check for $1 million to everybody, all the prices, all the rents, everything would go through the roof. And then when people were broke, they would be so broke because you would never be able to get to that $1 million again. And $1 million would become like having $100. I mean, everyone would run out and buy all the expensive cars and houses and things, and all the prices would go up. And the guy that held on to his money would just have a pile of worthless cash.
Now, and another question is, now I'm not picking on you, but your country there, I know you guys are 34 trillion, is it? In debt? Yeah. How is it that now all of a sudden you're going to be able to give every single person $2,000 a month? Really? Where's that money coming from exactly?
The printing press.
The printing press. Well, can't we all just get one of those then? Like,
I know. What's the difference between 34 and 85 trillion? Just keep printing that money up and printing that money up.
Yeah. If we, balanced our checkbook the way that the government does, how much trouble we would be in?
Yeah. I mean, you'd say things like, well, I went to the bank and I got a loan so I could buy a new house. But I said, I want a 2,000-year loan. And, did you get what I said? 2,000-year loan. Well, I don't live 2,000 years, so my children's children's children will pay it off, and my payments will be like $1 a month, And they say, okay, great. So now you pay $1 a month, and then the interest, whatever, eventually your children's children are paying a debt for your house that you bought, and they go, who incurred this debt? Well, your great grandmother incurred this debt. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, why am I paying for it? Well, because she bought a new house.
Well, it's one thing if, say, that the house then got passed down, so that at least they would have the house at the end of it, right?
Yeah, but a house don't last 2,000. It lasts for a while.
Well, no,
and your first couple generations may, get the house. And they would say, oh, this is, grandma's house and great grandma's house. And then pretty soon, Well, the house is 150 years old, 200 years old. It's dilapidated. We got to bulldoze it. Well,
Well,
you know
it's
what?
okay as long as you got that land though, so that you can rebuild, all right? So
Yeah, but
because it's
now,
really
but
land that's
you're talking
big.
200, 300 years later, houses are.
Yeah,
We go back to the bank and they said, well, you already got a loan on that, and it's a 2,000-year loan, and you didn't really pay any much off,
yeah,
and in the
yeah.
last 150 years, you only paid like $150.
Right.
So you need to either start making more payments. Well, we can give you a loan, but now we're going to extend it to like 4,000 years, and you see what I mean? And that's the
Yeah, I
government.
know.
They're
No, I hope it doesn't. I've been overhearing some conversations here and there, people talking, and it sounds like it's really hard to get a loan, especially our age. The bank won't
yeah.
give it to you, even if you have tons of money. Like this
Hmm.
one guy had like it's my age, I think, and he had like 500,000, to put
Yep.
down, like almost like half or whatever. The bank wouldn't give him a loan
Oh yeah,
because
but think
we're
about it.
that old.
When you're
Yeah,
our age and you go to the bank and you say I want a 20-year loan, they're gonna
yeah, no,
say to
we don't have to
you,
live.
oh, well, you're not gonna
Yeah,
make it that long.
well,
Uh,
that's what they're looking at. And we're not going to work. We're not going to be
yeah,
working. That's the thing. So
yeah,
even
because
though you have,
maybe if it's
so say some guys have a good pension coming in. I mean, he can probably pay for it. But yeah, they
yeah.
wouldn't give it to him. I just thought that was
Well,
kind of weird.
I don't blame them because you can't go there and I mean I look at that myself. I keep telling myself, yeah, I go to the bank and try to get a loan. I better have a big chunk down because in my head I still don't want to pay that much. I want to be able to, they're going to say, hey, your retirement is at say 60. We'll just say 65, make it reasonable.
Yeah.
65. Well, you got a good 10 years to pay.
Hmm.
Well, we're going to give you a loan for 15 years. Well, what are you going to do in that next 5 years? How's your income going to keep going after you're 65? And well, you going to take your whole Social Security check and give it to
Yeah.
us, and then
Right.
what?
Oh, I
No.
know. I know. So we're kind of screwed, at that age. I never thought of that. Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
guess the day comes when they look at you, and all of a sudden,
Well, people are dying sooner than usual now too.
yeah, that's true. I
Cancers and
know.
things
It's
like that.
scary. Yeah.
You drop over. I mean, I watch these people, the young people are dying at 50 now. It's like, what the heck? What? They were in
I
good
know.
health. What? They just got sick and died. Boom, done. Like,
Hmm.
wow, they had a heart attack.
Unexplainable. It's that mysterious death. What's it called? Sudden adult death syndrome. It's sad.
Yeah,
It's sad.
that comes up with
Sudden
our
adult death
next.
syndrome now.
That comes up with our next
I was going to
article.
say, I
Bill
think that
Gates.
next segment is going to kind of explain part of it,
Yeah,
why people are
yeah.
dying so
Bill
young.
Gates
Yeah.
unveils next gen vaccines that bypass public consent.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, how's he going to do that? Put it in your water.
Hmm.
Bill Gates has unveiled the next generation of vaccines, which he boasts can bypass the need for consent by vaccinating the general public without their knowledge. Gates gloats that his new vaccine don't require injections and gives far longer duration, more coverage. According to Gates, the main advantage of the new vaccines and that most of the population won't even realize that they're being vaccinated. We'll have a TB vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV vaccine, and even things like COVID vaccines. We need to make them have longer duration, more coverage. And that's what he told NBC News, Gates did. And he told that to the World Economic Forum. Here it says Bill Gates says the next COVID vaccines will have longer duration and use patches instead of needles. We'll have a TB vaccine and so forth. And he tells the next generation COVID are not only new vaccines being announced by the global elite at the World Economic Forum, new ones. The new virus, which they vow will be 20 times more deadly. 20, you get that? 20 times more deadly than COVID, is part of the globalist final push to strip all nations of the world of their sovereignty before President Donald Trump can return to power. The move will officially usher in the WEF's Great Reset agenda and install a single global government. That goes along with what the Pope was saying. For those who have been paying attention, the emergence of Disease X closely mirrors the shadowy origins of COVID pandemic, with Bill Gates and the WEF and the WHO holding tabletop exercises. So, what do you say to all that?
It's very scary what he's been talking about. I've heard before, and this was a while ago, that they'll put the vaccine on the food. That way, everybody will get it, and they don't have to chase people around with the needle.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be like they're either going to put it in the food, or they're going to put it in the water, or something that we all use that
Yep.
like they do the stuff in the water, fluoride. They put the fluoride in the water,
Well, you know
but they
what?
don't.
In one sense, I hope that they put it in the water, because I always clean my water before I drink it.
Okay,
And
but you
so,
don't realize that everything that you buy in the store
mm,
that has liquid added to it in some
right.
way or the process, they
Yeah.
use fluorinated water. So,
Yeah.
say you were buying a soda. Well, guess what water they put in there? You wanted to buy even anything, pretty much. Your
Yeah.
ketchup. You're putting ketchup on your well. You know what? They liquidated that with fluoridated water.
Right.
You had something, anything else. They wash it with the fluoridated water.
Mhm.
So you're getting it every which
We're
you're going to
showering
wash your
in it
your
every
shower. I
night,
was just going
every
to say,
day.
you're showering in it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to get a little bit in your mouth. You're going to
Yeah.
get a little bit
You brush your teeth
somewhere.
in it. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. And it goes right in your skin. Your skin absorbs everything. And yeah, no. So, it's, we can't avoid it completely. But I do
Hmm.
use filters on my water, so that takes the chlorine and all that stuff out. Now, I'm hoping that maybe it would take that nasty stuff out too, if that was the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they would probably do it all over just to make sure. So, yeah, even if you do filter your water, you're probably going to get it in those tomatoes,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
especially if you're a healthy person, yeah, let's put it on the vegetables, especially the organic ones, right? We don't know.
Hmm.
So
Well,
they're already GMO and everything else anyway. So, yeah,
well,
it's
Well, here's the thing too. I've read something about genetics and stuff too, that they can actually grow vegetables like corn, for instance, and grow a virus inside corn, or grow
yeah.
a
Mhm,
vaccine probably inside
mhm,
corn or a vegetable, which is it sounds like hoo-ha crazy, but
mhm.
it's true. They can do that. Like
I know
they're using mosquitoes to spread diseases.
oh yes, he's heavily invested into that, I heard, yeah, with those mosquitoes. Because that's another one, the mosquitoes can be bringing about all kinds of disease, which we know they already do. So
Mhm.
what else? Just, let them do some other ones too. And then they can just blame it on natural causes. Oh, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened. Right? Oh,
Ain't
mosquitoes.
that something, how natural causes just show up?
Right. I
you
know. I was
know.
listening to this guy, this doctor guy. I can't remember his name now, but he's pretty good. And there's talking about, um, oh, my thoughts. This one thing about my age right now is that thoughts, they come and they go so quick.
Hmm.
It's really irritating.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I know. That's
Oh
you
yeah,
just
it'll
lose your
come to me later.
concentration.
It's weird. Like, I've never witnessed something like this before. Like, the thought, like, it's right there. I'm talking and it's gone, like
Hmm.
right in front of my eyes. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm sure the ladies can in here can relate. Yeah, it's part of all the fun, the changes, that happens.
Well,
Yeah.
let's go on. Since you can't remember, we'll go on because they did the digital kill switch on you. that, that's when we were just talking about the internet having problems.
Oh,
Digital kill
geez.
switches, how tyrannical governments stifle political dissent. It's talking about communications kill switches have become tyrannical tools of domination and oppression. And people, you can figure out what this is, and in your
Well, that's
mind,
the
I ain't going to
thing.
read the
Like,
whole article.
yeah, the thing is, with our phones, with our cars, everything that we do now, they can go in there and just shut it down, Shut it
Yeah.
off. You could be driving along. You think that you got away with that? Like, say, whatever you did, whether it's legal or unlegal, whatever it is, they want to they just shut your car off. You're not going anywhere. You know,
Well,
your phone,
exactly.
they'll just switch that off. First of all, they'll listen to you. Second of all, they can just shut her down so that you can't make phone calls. You can't communicate. You know, like, yeah, that's the
Hmm.
thing. Like, yeah, they
Oh
got
yeah.
full control, right?
It says here, it says they will stifle shutdown resistance to forestall elections, election losses, reinforce military coups, and keep the populace isolated, disconnected, and in the dark, literally and figuratively. And just exactly what you said.
Oh, this is the new disease. Is that what you're talking about?
No, yeah, this is the internet on your internet. We're talking about shutting things down. They can shut
Oh,
the
yes.
internet, off. They can shut your
Yeah,
lights off. They can turn your phone on. They can shut it
of
off. They
course.
can, like it says here, election loss as well. They did that with our elections over here. Oh,
Well, that could
so and so
be,
is winning, and then
maybe,
all of a sudden later on
yeah.
the morning you wake up and the other guy's winning by thousands and
Oh,
thousands.
yeah,
What
I
happened at
wouldn't
3 o'clock in the
I don't
morning?
trust those guys, I know, and that would be another thing they can do just before the election. Oh, all of a sudden the internet's down. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't do the election now, you
Yep,
know?
an
Oh, yeah,
internet
that would be
connected
brilliant.
age. Killing the internet is tantamount to bringing everything communications, commerce, and travel. Because travel, speaking of travel, the power grid to a standstill. Travel, all those new electric cars connected to the
Yes.
internet. You're going to have to
Yeah,
upload, download. It's
yeah.
all internet. Basically, you should
Yes.
call them an internet car. They're not an electric car. They're an internet
Yeah.
car.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yeah, because everybody's relying now on all this, the driving apps and all this. Like, that's all gonna be gone. You guys gotta have to know how to do it. Like, we gotta go back to the way it was so that we know, so we won't forget our skills.
Yeah.
Like, people are just gonna be completely helpless without this internet now. All of a sudden, it's like,
Hmm.
to me, it doesn't feel like we had it that long, really. Like, I do
No.
remember a time before that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were
Exactly.
just fine. I used to print out those damn maps. It's not a big deal. You just hold it in your, you know what I mean? Or even
Yeah,
before
yeah,
that, we had actual maps, like real, but they were a little cumbersome, I gotta admit. But
yeah, exactly. It's easy. It's better to have a paper map because if your cell
yeah,
phone goes dead, well, then what? Oh, well, now I was
yeah,
out here and I was traveling and my battery went dead, and
yeah.
well, now I'm lost.
It's funny. One time, my when was that? I can't remember now. It got broken. My car got broken into, and one of the things I thought was really strange that they took was all my little paper maps to my
Oh,
places that I was visiting. So if it was a place that I know that I'm going to go again, a friend's house or somewhere, I would
hmm.
just tuck it into my door.
Yep,
I just had them there for next time, kind of thing. That was one thing that they took, was all my little maps. I thought that was kind of weird, because what are they going to use that for? From my
yeah,
house to my friend's house? Like, I don't know. Yeah, that was
yeah.
weird.
Well, but that's the way they do things. Let's move on
Yeah.
here. We're going to move to forms of invisible warfare used by global governments to overthrow nations is being used upon Americans. How oh boy, weather terrorism is killing people, destroying agriculture, and will starve millions. Weather warfare. A huge part of the country stuck in the deep freeze, which seems not to be so normal. But we know weather happens, but they blame it on it. But we do know that they are spraying the skies with geoengineering, and they are making certain things go into a deep freeze, certain things be hotter. It wreaks havoc with our immune system, so that many folks will get ill and die. And then of course it goes to the crops. We will end up having devastating repercussions that last longer than the cold itself. Yeah, because if your pipes all freeze and your house floods with water, or you can't flush your toilet, you can breed germs and create disease. It says it will end up destroying agriculture and ushering
Mhm,
famine. Of course,
mhm.
when you don't have, you have a big freeze, it can frost all those flowering plants, can freeze the ground and break the roots. If you get too much snow, it takes too long to melt, and therefore the plants can't grow, and you don't have a long enough season to harvest, or vice versa. And chemicals, and while many might argue that chemical ice, nucleating cloud seeding. Are they cloud seeding? Well, just look up in the sky and see all those chemtrails. If that's not cloud seeding, I don't know what is. When you look up there and one minute in the morning, it's beautiful, nice, and then you go, wow. And the next, where'd all those lines come from? And next thing you know, the afternoon is cloudy. We've all seen it, people. I know you have. If you haven't, go outside and look.
Just the other day, wasn't it? Wayne actually had pictures from his backyard.
He did.
Noticing that they were doing that just now, like lately. Yeah, and it was very obvious that that's what that was, And yeah, so they're still doing it. They haven't stopped that shit. I heard somebody said a while ago that they stopped doing it, but no, they have not stopped doing it. And who knows about the cold snap? Is it natural? Because it could be. I mean, weather does happen. Or is it helped along a little bit? Who knows? They do have the capabilities of it, so that's quite possible. Because, like, let's face it, if the Depop is what their agenda is, they'll use every avenue they can. And if it goes into that much of a freeze, yes, that is going to affect crops. It's going to affect plant life, animals. There could be some dying off a lot more than they normally would, which is going to affect, everything is ecosystem. Everything affects the other thing, how, no matter how small they are, from microbes, in the dirt, being frozen to, I mean, so it bottom line will affect us, because if it affects our food, it affects us. And, so same with the bees, like that was a thing there that I don't know how much of that is true or not. That's the problem right now. Is that there's so much misinformation, you just don't know, if it's just another distraction, something to keep us busy. But if that's the case, if the bees are, then we're in big trouble. Like, they do a lot of, good stuff for us. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we got our next big article, and we're going to play a little bit of this. Okay, people, hang on to your booties. Listen.
Oh, yeah, this thing.
Wait a minute. I got to stop for a second. I got to...
Audio?
Yeah, I forgot the audio, people. Sorry. I hit the thing.
Rewind.
Yeah, I forgot. That's a stupid thing. They got this audio button, and they put it way down the bottom in little print, and it's like, how do you put it down there? I forget it all the time. Okay. It is just playing music, so there's no voice here. Oop, wait a minute. I hit the wrong button. Don't you hate it when you do that? Yeah. If it ain't an internet problem, it's my own problem.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
In front of you is the Russian humanoid robot Fyodor, who can shoot with 2 hands. Developed by Russian specialists, Fyodor, final experimental demonstration object research, is designed for extreme situations and space exploration. The robot can operate autonomously or be controlled by an operator using a specialized control suit. The robot is intended to perform 2 main tasks: rescue people in extreme conditions, such as from collapsed buildings, and undertake space missions. Recently, it was revealed that Fyodor faced sanctions after it was discovered that the robot can not only shoot, but also shoot with both hands. Upon learning this, foreign companies ceased supplying components including gears, sensors, engines, cameras, and computers. Nevertheless, Fyodor continues to evolve, with the robot's developers transitioning to domestic alternatives. Work on the robot began in 2014, and it was first presented to the public in 2016. According to its specifications, the robot can already use a key to open doors, operate a fire extinguisher, and use a saw. In addition, Fyodor can drive a car and even crawl on all 4s. Furthermore, the robot has mastered doing both transverse and longitudinal splits, setting a world record. The robot stands at a height of 180 centimeters and weighs between 105 and 106 kilograms.
Okay. So what do you think of that? Let's talk a little bit before we move on to the next one.
Yeah, so I saw that whole thing there. I was watching that whole thing. There's a lot more than what you're showing there.
Yeah, we're
You
gonna
know,
talk about the first part of the robot deal, and then we're gonna talk about the next one. So we don't have it all together. I don't want.
yeah, when they first get going on these things, whoever's inventing them, whoever's thinking about this, it can be used for good. We're looking at it. They can be used in the military, and there's a lot of good uses for these things, right? But then humanity gets in there, and they usually turn it into something bad.
Well, didn't
Or
you notice how they put that? Oh, he's developed to save people in buildings and collapsed buildings and
yeah, right,
rescue
so it sounds
operations.
good.
And then he says, and then they realize that we can put two guns in his hand and he can fire them both at the same time. And then
Oh
everybody
shit,
canceled
exactly.
selling us parts. And it's like,
Right. So never mind the rescue operation. We're going to use you for bad things, right? And that's what I'm
yeah.
saying. So, unfortunately, like I don't know what's up with us. Honestly, we will always go that way. It's
Mhm.
always that way. Like I wonder if that's why we always keep coming back here. We just can't
Mhm.
figure this out.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just can't leave it alone. We just can't be peaceful. We just have to make it, like fuck it up somehow. It's just-
Weaponize everything. Weaponize it
yeah.
all.
How
Weaponize.
can we
It's
kill and destroy and conquer essentially, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And when we got something, we'll give it to the public and they'll say, "Oh, this is great. Look at that. You got a robot that lifted that big giant boulder off of that house and saved the lady
yeah.
in there. Let's build
Mhm.
thousands. Look at you built a
Mm.
robot that can bring me my food. Okay, let's build bunches." And then all of a sudden they said, "Hey, you know what? That robot can bring you your food, but he can also bring a bomb, he can
That's right.
bring he
Get
can
him
lift
to do
that
it.
boulder, he can also lift a
Oh,
rocket into the air. Oh
yeah,
boy, we're gonna win the war."
yeah. And you can also send them off to space, which I guess is a good
Yeah,
idea because why sacrifice humans to do it? So
yeah,
that's
I mean
that's a good thing to do. But and
yes,
they're probably smarter and be able to withstand all the different things out there, anyways, better than us. So
yeah,
that
but
makes
at,
sense.
at some point, maybe they go to space, but maybe they come back a little smarter after they're out there for a while,
Well, you
and then they
never
come
know,
back and
right?
say, "Well, we don't need you
Yeah,
anymore.
we're
We're
taking
gonna
over the
be."
planet.
Didn't they make a movie about that? Wasn't it called Transformers or something like that?
Oh yeah, there you go. I know, right? Well, there's hints, right? There you go. I mean, it's very scary. If they become self-aware, that's the thing. And with the AI now, with the chatbot thing there and whatever, like, she sounds pretty self-aware to me. That Sophia thing there, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what gets scary. Yeah,
Yeah, just take that Sophia, put her head on that body, and then let
yeah,
her drive down the road and see what
right.
happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's pretty much what it. There you go, Terminator all over again. We're just in the
There you go.
beginning stages of it, and we don't realize
Yes.
it. But there's
Yeah.
the Terminator movie
Next
right
thing
there
you
in
know,
front of
there's
you.
going to be robots everywhere, and we won't be able to tell what's what, and who's a human and who's a bot and whatever. Like it's going to be like just like in those futuristic movies. We can see it coming now.
Well,
Like
yeah, in
back
the
then, we're
Terminator
like, oh yeah, ha ha
movie,
ha, sure, okay.
in the
Now we're like,
Terminator
oh shit, we're
in
almost
the
there. Like,
if you remember watching the Terminator movie, they couldn't tell the man from a robot, so they had dogs that would sniff them out when the dog
there you
barked.
go. Yeah.
That's how they
Well,
told
that's
the
the way it's
difference.
going to be. Actually, it's funny because Wayne's just talking right now about soulless. Some humans don't have
Hmm.
souls. And so the next thing is going to be, it's not just that we have to sniff out who has souls or not, it's who's a bot or not, too, now. So, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue on with this.
At the Army 2022 Arms Exhibition in Moscow, an advanced Russian development was shown, a robot dog armed with a grenade launcher. The design, resembling a dog, belongs to the Russian company Intellect Machine, specializing in robotics, weaponry, and artificial intelligence. According to the developers, the robot dog is capable of accurate shooting and weapon transportation. In civilian applications,
Look, he's so cute. He's only got a rocket launcher on his back, but
Who's a
I
Ninja
love him.
Turtle? I know, it looks like a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, he's just so. Look at that, standing around taking pictures.
Oh, I
Oh, look
know.
at that. He's so nice.
Bam.
He's got a grenade launcher on his back, whatever it is.
I know.
He, Yo, come on,
Yeah.
people. I'd be sitting there saying, do you people realize
Obviously, it's
what
not
you're looking at?
armed.
Yeah, it's not
It
armed, but
can't
I
be,
mean,
right? No.
it's like
It's
this could be a really deadly weapon. I mean, think about it. You're a human on the battlefield. This thing is crawling around. It
Well,
can
when
get
you
down
see
a
a little further along, you'll see on the battlefield. It is quite handy. I gotta say, it's quite brilliant in the army there. Like, we'll see that
yeah.
here. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're right, but I mean, if you're a human on the battlefield and you're fighting against this, you basically have a
Yeah.
rocket thing
Well,
that's going to crawl up on you, can get within so many feet and launch its rocket because you couldn't see it, feel it, hear it coming, nothing, because it's a robot. It just lays down,
yeah.
be's real
It's
quiet,
cool.
turns
You
itself
can't even
off,
see it
then
in the heat seeking. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
and then
Yes, yeah. Well, hopefully both sides have it then, I guess. I don't know. No, I hope not. None of them do. But yeah, it's
yeah,
crazy. Crazy.
It can be
yeah.
used in emergency situations for reconnaissance, navigating through debris.
Oh, did you see this? Just like the other one, it can be used in reconnaissance, in emergencies,
Yeah.
navigating through debris. I'm like, yeah, just like the other robot. Oh, it can help people and everything. Now listen,
And delivering
Well,
medical
that's big
supplies.
ones.
In
medical
combat
supplies.
scenarios, the robot dog can also engage in target designation, patrolling, and security tasks. However, the US believes that the Russian robot dog with a grenade launcher is a copy of a Chinese counterpart. The dog closely resembles the Unitree Yushu technology dog from Unitree Robotics, available for purchase at $2,700 in online stores. The M81 is draped with fabric to conceal its origin. The assertion in a publication suggests it seems entirely obvious that the robot was not developed by a Russian manufacturer. Share your thoughts in the comments about this Russian development. Russia plans to create an
So anyway, like I said, so here we go again. What do you think of that dog? You notice how they word it. Oh, he can help out with emergencies and this and rescue and da
Yeah,
da
well,
da da
that's,
da.
yeah,
And then he can carry a rocket launcher on his
I
back and
know.
go out and fight. We
That's
don't
what I'm
need
saying.
people.
Like, the thought that whoever invented it, I'm sure had good thought, intentions, but, we always turn it around and use it for something we shouldn't, So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here. Okay, watch this part. Here we go.
avatar robot within the next 10 years, with the potential to replace soldiers on the battlefield. The robot can be designed in an anthropomorphic or non-anthropomorphic form, resembling or significantly differing from a human. In the latter case, the operator would feel, for instance, a leg functioning as a caterpillar track. According to the developers, the robot should possess functional capabilities comparable to humans. The goal is to create a machine capable of independently interacting effectively within human infrastructure, traversing rough terrain, providing first aid, and operating a vehicle. In 2015, the first developments of a humanoid robot capable of shooting and driving vehicles were introduced. A manipulator arm, controlled by an operator nearby, is used for firing. In the future, such avatar robots could potentially replace live soldiers. However, it is more likely that other countries, such as the United States or China, will be the first to implement such groundbreaking technologies globally, rather than Russia.
Well, there you go. Look at that. The robot can ride a four-wheeler. He can cut things, do stuff, and you could sit in the privacy of your own home and work a robot fighting on the field. Ain't that something?
Well, it would be handy to have one chopping wood and stuff, but there's no doubt that these things can't be handy, but then the military gets a hold of it, and next thing you know, now we got a whole, and then the next thing is once they start liking it and whatever, next thing you know, they're just all over the place. They're taking
Yeah.
over. Next thing you know what I mean? So that's, it's just, it's not a good thing. I don't think it's going to be for our own best interest to let these things loose. Yeah.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's, because think about, the way they were talking for the other day is like, say Russia's going to invade, right? Well, in order they can invade, but they can't occupy because you need millions of people to occupy a country. You need millions of soldiers to do, advance, fight, and occupy. And they don't have that kind of people to occupy unless they use the robots to fight, and then they can occupy. You see what I'm saying? Because none of the countries have that many troops anymore. And I'm thinking, well, like back in the day during World War I or II or whatever, you had to have millions of troops because once you go in and occupy an area, you have to set up, guards and military checkpoints, and you have to do all these things. That means a large force to do all the background work, right? Well, who's going to do it? The robots.
Right.
You know,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because if you look at it, they're not planning, or are they? What are they doing? I don't understand it. All this boils down to people. Here, we're going to go finish this up.
One of the most
Yeah,
powerful
I mean,
ground-based
well,
drones
I
in
was
the
gonna
world.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I mean, you know, if we can take it one step further, so instead of sending out our boys to
Yeah.
fight our battles, maybe we will just send out robots. Let the robots, you know, do it.
Well, yeah, and that's what this part is about. Here you got
Yeah.
the tanks with guys, and then you got the
Well,
tanks
see,
with
this
no
is
guys.
both. Yeah.
Well,
I
these
mean,
tanks gonna
yeah.
fire just the same as the guys with the tanks. Now, which one do you shoot at? If you're another tank in another army, which one of these are you going to shoot first?
You're probably
I
going
mean,
to
I
shoot at
don't,
the one in the front, and you put the bot in the front, and I was watching that, and I said, brilliant, and let the guys get that way. They're already scoping, and he's shooting everywhere, so that way the guys don't get, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it is a good idea, actually, you know, and maybe we should just
Mhm.
actually, that would be a place where let's let the robots take over the military in a way so that we're not sacrificing our own sons and brothers here, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be a good thing, I think, but.
Okay, let's finish this up.
Is the Uran 9. In terms of firepower, the unmanned combat vehicle Uran 9 holds the top position globally. The Russian military robot visually resembles an infantry fighting vehicle, measuring approximately 4.5 meters in length and 2 meters in width, with a total combat weight reaching 10 tons. The robot is equipped with a 30mm automatic cannon 2A72, paired with a 7.62mm machine gun. Launchers with 4 9M120 Ataka anti-tank missiles are installed on both sides of the turret. These can be replaced with Igla anti-aircraft missiles if needed, providing air defense capabilities. 6 reactive flamethrower Schmel are positioned at the rear of the turret. Currently, there is no unmanned combat vehicle in the West that can match the firepower of the Uran 9. Importantly, this combat robot has already participated in real combat operations in Syria, where, according to the developers, it demonstrated its effectiveness. Details of the Uran 9 application in the Syrian conflict are unknown, but the machine's testing in a combat environment revealed several issues inherent to such technology. While the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and other countries are actively developing combat robots to reduce human casualties on the battlefield, Russia had faced some technological lag in this field. However, the introduction of the Uran 9 has significantly reduced this technological gap. The armored tracked vehicle Soratnik is designed for reconnaissance and relay, patrolling, guarding territories and important objects, demining, and delineation. This robot operates in 3 control modes: manual, automatic, and direct control. The complex weighs no more than 7 tons and can reach speeds of up to 40 kilometers per hour. With remote control and direct visibility, the machine has an operational radius of up to 10 kilometers. The armored robot can also be used as a fire support vehicle, transporting ammunition and fuel, evacuating the wounded, and providing guard duty. It has an armored hull capable of withstanding gunfire up to 7.62 millimeters caliber. The robot is equipped with interchangeable combat modules, which can be armed with 7.62 and 12.7 millimeter machine guns, various types of grenade launchers, and Cornet anti-tank missile. There is also the option of installing a high-speed 30mm cannon and anti-aircraft missiles. The combat robot Nerekta is a group of robotic systems united under a single control system subordinate to a human operator. The operator has the choice to stay behind and control remotely, or be with the robot on the front line to execute tasks. The robotic platform with a combat module is operated from a command post, which can be located anywhere, even in a separate armored vehicle or at a stationary point. Before the battle, the map of the area and grids of key landmarks to be eliminated are loaded into it. In combat, special forces do not need to control every movement of the teletank. It is sufficient to press a button and select one of several tasks. The Nerekta combat robot, as a platform, is designed for reconnaissance operations, adjusting fire on enemy positions, and the rapid delivery of ammunition and supplies to hotspots. The combat robot marker is a robotic platform.
This is it's crazy, because you look at this thing and you're like, holy cow, they got one after another after another. It said, did you hear? It says it's It's good for patrolling duty. It's got all these. It's heavily, it's all gunned up.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
know.
I'm
Can
and
you
I'm
imagine
thinking,
this thing coming down your street? If we go into martial law, right?
yep,
Why bother with having people? We just have this thing. And that's the thing about these things. You can't reason with them. It's not like a soldier, you could at least try to pull on the heartstrings a little, but this thing, he don't give an F, right? It just, so
mhm.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't. It
yeah,
doesn't care. You're out of line, and when you're out of line, well, it does its thing. It doesn't care if
that's right.
you cross the line. I get to shoot
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
It doesn't say, well, he tripped, or he. It's not. It's only
right.
a
There's no
kid.
reasoning with it. Yeah, I
Whatever.
know.
It's a robot.
Yeah,
It's designed to do a function like the guy said on that last one. You don't have to man it. You just press the button and say do this, and it'll go do that function, like blow up
mhm.
this target. Okay, great. We'll go blow that target up. And it does whatever it needs to do, programmed into it to blow that target up. And, I mean, it's just scary. You got some guy, like it showed there, sitting in the background, and he's just running the little controls. He ain't going to get killed. Well, the machine broke down. Well, send out another robot. you
Yeah.
know?
It's definitely the way of the future, but there's another thing too, that it's like a $2,000 drone can
Yeah.
pretty much like even take out something like that from above, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like, why even bother doing the boots on the ground stuff anymore? Like that just seems kind of
Well, that's what they were
redundant now.
doing in Ukraine there. I watched the videos of it. The little drones with a grenade would fly over the top of
Yeah,
the tanks,
right.
drop a grenade down the hatch, and
Yeah,
blow them up. And
yeah.
because the
That's what I'm
guy's thinking,
saying.
well, I'm safe. I got my hatch up. They can't shoot me. But then the drone flies over, drives the grenade down, and kills everybody inside the tank. Done
Yeah,
deal. And so there you're thinking, wow, but I didn't see that little $2,000 drone flying.
that's what I'm
That's the same
saying.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
It's a
like, what
whole
the,
nother game now. Like it doesn't make sense to do boots on the ground because I mean, like so. I don't know. I don't know if that's the way it's. Who knows?
yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Let's go on with the video. This is very
That
interesting, at
resembles
least
a
to me
small
anyway.
tracked robot. The developer boasted that Marker can now travel 1,000 kilometers, carry loads, and evacuate the wounded. The robots are designed for military operations not only on the battlefield, but also in urban areas. They have been tested both in
Urban
exercises
areas.
and actual combat, where they performed well. Marker can be used either as a remote-controlled machine or carry
It
out some
shoots down
functions
drones.
autonomously. According to the developers, the combat platform can operate in autonomous mode, consuming 30.5 liters per hour, sufficient for a 1,000-kilometer cross-country journey or 50 hours of autonomous operation.
Wow, 50 hours, 1,000 kilometers. I know you deal with more kilometers. How many miles is that? That's like 600 or 700 miles, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Well,
It's a waste.
yeah, it's still a long ways. I mean, on a tank of fuel, it could run for 50 hours. That's a long time. 50 hours of driving. Well,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Well, and so this is why you can see how these things are taken over, right? Because the human
Yeah,
body, we can't do that. And, we do require a lot of maintenance and keeping up, for us in order
yeah,
for us to stay healthy. So, so you can see how it just makes economical sense to go this way, We'll
yeah,
just take our $2,000, and sit at home and watch, with the popcorn ready.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, let's
Robots
finish this up.
developers also claim that Marker can be used for automatic delivery and unloading of cargo. Additionally, with the help of a hydraulic manipulator, the system is capable of autonomously extracting cargo containers from storage.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Russian robotic complex Platform M is a remotely controlled robot on a tracked chassis. It is an armored robot, remotely operated, armed with a grenade launcher and machine gun system for engaging in combat without direct contact with the enemy. According to the developers, the complex is designed for reconnaissance, detection, and engagement of stationary and moving targets, providing fire support for units, as well as for patrolling and guarding important objects.
It's just like the kids. The kids, you just use a video game controller. That's what
Yeah.
they've been preparing us.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, there you go. It just says,
Mhm.
that they've taught the kid. That's why video games. They put the video games out to teach them how to use a robot.
Objects. The latest
Right.
combat complex includes means of differentiated armor for the chassis and weapon platform. The complex can enable conducting combat operations at night without revealing factors. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the Caro Show.
Okay. Anyway, okay. Well, there we go. I, well, that's a lot to take in, people. When those things come, I think Lucky says something really important. Wait 50 hours. How my cell phone can, maybe a day, electric car, maybe 250 miles. That's 4 hours. Yeah. Do you think they're using an electric motor and batteries on that thing? No, I think they fill it up with fuel. It's a big fuel tank rolling on wheels with a computer controlling it and a motor. And then when it breaks down, they just launch the drone from there. And that gets you too.
I like to think that, the technology has gotten a lot further than that. We don't need fuel and stuff like that. Like there's new technology now. But yeah, these things can go on forever. Like, uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it just tells
So,
you that they are giving us leftover technology. They don't want us to have a cell
oh
phone
yeah.
that
Oh,
lasts
for sure. Oh
for
yes.
days on a battery charge, or have our car go 5, 6, 700 miles on a
No.
charge. They want to be in control. You're
Yeah.
not going to be able to go anywhere because
No.
we're going to limit you to 250 miles. That way
Hmm.
you live in town, you buy a car, and then you drive around town. And sure, that's fine. Like you live in town, right? You're an apartment building, so I assume that's a town. And if you go places and you had an electric car, you probably go everywhere you want to go with an electric car, right?
Yeah. So the problem with that is you can only go as far as where you can find a charger for it.
Yes,
And
yes.
so if
But I
you go
mean,
outside of the city limits, yeah, you're going to have a hard time finding a charger. So you would have to stay within town or within the kilometer so you can get back. Yeah, so you're
mhm,
trapped, and that's what they want. They don't want you having a huge gas tank or the diesel truck there and, heading out of town all over the place doing all kinds of. They don't want that. They want to keep an eye on you, keep you in town, preferably in that 15-minute city that they got planned for us.
mhm.
I see the signs all over the place. Not here where I am, but over on the island, Vancouver, there's a sign for it. Nanaimo, there's a sign for it. Uh, Kelowna, that was almost burnt down, just like the Maui thing. Both of those were shown for that as well. And that's a lot of the reasons why all these fires are happening in these places, because they want to burn it down so that they can rebuild it, right?
Yep.
Build back better. Heard that one before? Yeah,
Yes.
that's still going on, guys. But they haven't built it all back yet, so they're working on it. So
Let's see. Yep, yep. Yeah, it's all crazy stuff. Okay, I guess I got everything on there. Well, we did our hour here. We got a little bit over, but that's all right. I thank everybody for showing up. I will hit the big things we did. We'll probably join you again sometime. Hopefully, I hope you all enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up. Give Nina a thumbs up if you liked the show. Nina, you got any last bits of stuff that you want to put out there?
yeah, no, thanks for being here. I can see there's quite a few in my chat here, and so thanks for being here. Yeah, make sure you hit the like and share it out if you don't mind, and go over to the other channel, and subscribe and all that good stuff there. And stay tuned. I got Ryder Lee coming on my other channel, on the Mystic channel there on Sunday for Sunday Live. So stay tuned for that. I can't remember if I going
That's
on.
going to be a good one. I
That's
looked at
gonna
the
be a good
title of
one.
that and I thought, what? And then I thought, oh my, circumcision. What is? I
Yes,
gotta watch that.
I had to change it. I had to change the title, but but that's what it's about. Yes. Yeah, no, writers like, yeah, we shouldn't probably call it that because people aren't, yeah, that might sound a little weird. So anyway, so Penn Island conspiracy is where it's from. And I
Yeah,
actually posted the video that we got that from, which is Cliff High, on my
yeah.
Gilded. So make sure that you guys join up on the Gilded. Okay, everybody go in there because that's where I post stuff. Robert and I are in there. We're chatting all the time now and posting what we're watching and discussing stuff. So go and join up on there. So yeah, so if you want to get a heads up on sort of the topic, just watch that video with Cliff High there up on Gilded.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hidden
Exactly.
Island, a conspiracy. It's called. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you can Google it, I guess.
There's a lot. Cliff High is good to watch. He's got a lot of good stuff.
He's got a lot of good stuff. Yeah. There's a reason why they booted him off all the platforms.
Exactly.
So.
But anyway, for me, I got Saturday. I got Diane Martino coming on from Heart and Soul, and she's going to do some meditation stuff, breathing and whatever, yoga stuff. Who knows? And let's see. Right now, if you want, you can go. I'll go over to my channel, Milky Way Soul Tribe, and check me out over there. I got a show on tonight. I think it's me and David Null. Sorry, it's recorded, but hey, it's going to be a good one about tree hugging, So going on over there, it's just started ramping up, and David, he likes to start out a little slow, so it doesn't get going till about 15 minutes in. So it's a short one too. So anyway, it's all good. It's all good. Remember, everybody, go out, read some news. Don't believe any of it that you can't really prove. Check it, double check it, and triple check it. Go with what's in your heart and just be leery. Just like Nina said, prepare a little bit. Get yourself one of those chargers, some extra heat, some extra food, things like that. It's important. For an emergency or a catastrophe, doesn't matter. You never know when it's going to strike your area. The power could go off, not because of a war, but just because there's a lightning storm, and we all have those. So with that, people, go out, be nice to your neighbor, because he may become your best friend in that kind of an emergency, and then be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love you all. Peace, everybody.